Welcome to Lesson 3, where we talk about finances and fee setting. It's going to be a good one. Money, money, money. Money. You guys can see why I went into therapy instead of singing. We're going to be talking about finances and fee setting, and I want you to feel like this by the time we're done. Are you ready? I want you to experience clarity about what income you need versus want versus dream of. I want us to make decisions with data to define what you need and really what you want. And then I want us to dream big. I want to help you define how much you need to make and how quickly, based on fact, not on fear. So based on data. I want to help you stem the flood of your bleeding heart so it doesn't bleed you dry. And to help you set fees with purpose, clarity, and conviction. And I want us to use this information to begin to outline a marketing strategy that's based on your financial realities. And then we're going to define the boundaries of your reduced fee spots, if you decide to offer them, using not just your compassion for others, but also your compassion for yourself. Okay, so let's get some clarity. We need to define what income you need versus want versus dream of having. So do you remember that homework that I gave you before we even got started, asking you to get clear about your current family income and outflow? Okay, so using that information, are you A, getting ahead? Meaning you're making headway on the principal of any loans that you have, you're being able to put money into savings, money into retirement, you've got money left over. Is that you? Or are you breaking even? So maybe you can pay the interest on your loans, but you're not being able to break into that principal. You're able to pay your bills, but you're not being able to get ahead. Or are you in this third group, the falling behind group? So you are accumulating more debt and you're not able to make ends meet. These are going to be really important pieces of information for us to have as we're determining your marketing strategy. So we need to figure out what's the cushion. So look back at those finances, and I want you to let yourself know, you're not going to share this with the group, which of these categories you're falling into, okay? So is it the first one? Even if I never make money, Amber, I'm good, we're good. The second one, we have some savings. The third one, what savings? I'm just breaking even over here. Or the fourth one, we are deep in debt. There is no room at all. Now, if you're in that second group, we have some savings. I want you to really think about, with current expenses, how much time could I go before my savings were gone? And the second, with current expenses, how much of your savings, how much time would you have using your savings before they were depleted enough to make you nervous? So you really take some time and answer these questions for yourself. Okay, so we need to define what your income needs are. We're going to get to desires in a moment. So using the information that you've gone over, I want you to decide if within 3 months you can make it if you're making X per week. So what's the number that you would need to be making per week in order to make it for 3 months? Let's do the same for 6 months, for 9 months, 12 months, and 24 months. So remember, we're getting at need here. What do you need to be making? And the reason that this is different per month is I knew, for example, when I started my practice that I had a little bit of a cushion, but not one that I would feel comfortable taking advantage of for too long. So I knew if I made whatever number each week for 3 months, then I would just barely be tapping into my savings and that would be okay. But that I couldn't do that for 6 months without making a really big dent. So I knew, okay, 3 months, this is what I need to be making per week, and I would feel comfortable dipping into my savings a little bit. But by the end of that 3 months, I need to be making more because I don't want to keep dipping into my savings. So by 6 months, I need to be making this amount, so I'm not dipping into savings at all. And I don't want to just be breaking even for forever, right? So by 9 months, I really need to be making this so I can contribute to retirement again. So that was the kind of thinking that I went through. I really want you to be strategic as you plan this. Now, we want to talk about also your desires and dreams. So I didn't start with 3 months on this one on purpose, because you're not going to get your dream income in 3 months. I'm really sorry to bust that bubble, but it ain't happening. So 6 months, you're still not going to hit dream, but let's go ahead and dream a little bit. By 12 months, you really can be starting to get there. So let's just define, if you want, I really want 2 categories here: what you would want and then what your dream would be, because those are 2 different things. And then I added the question at the bottom here: why specifically? So, some people are like, I want to make $1 million, but they really don't understand what that $1 million will do for them. So what's the purpose? I can think about, I can talk to my accountant and say, how much money do I need to have to retire comfortably? And, this level would be comfortable for me. And he can give me an actual number. And then I can walk backwards from that number to figure out how much money I need to make a year to cover my expenses, be able to go on vacation, pay my taxes, and put money towards that retirement account if I have 10 years to get there. So I really want us to use data. And I want us to be thinking about why that number. So if I said to myself, I'd really like to make $300,000 in the year 2020 per year, why is that number important? Would that number mean I would be able to replace both mine and my husband's income, and we would be able to put this much money towards retirement so that we hit this number by the time, whatever, we were 15 years from now? Or I know I want to take a $10,000 vacation every year, and so I need to make this much money in order to get there. That's my dream. So really think about the why. Okay. This next step is going to be using those numbers, your need number, your want number, and your dream of number, to figure out how many clients you need to see a week and at what rate. How many clients you need to see a week and at what rate. So there's a worksheet that I'm going to have you use to get there. So let's see if this will open up for us. No, I didn't think that it would. I will pull it up for us, and I'm going to have to pause. Okay guys, I just wanted to quickly orient you to a Google Sheets that I made for you. So in this column is the number of clients, and you will be able to input whatever you want into this column. This column is your session fee. So let's say that you see 5 clients at $100 per session. The worksheet will do the math for you to show you what your weekly revenue will be. So if you saw 5 clients at $100 a session, your weekly revenue would be $500. It also calculates out your monthly revenue. So this would get you to $2,000 a month. I just want to give you a heads up that this calculates monthly revenue based on there being 4 weeks in a month. So some months you're going to make more than it's showing you here, but I wanted to make sure that I formulated it conservatively so that, it's always better to have a surprise of making more money than you expected rather than making less. So this is based on 4 weeks. And then this one's calculating your annual revenue, and that's based on 12 months. So remember, this is 12 months at 4 weeks per month. So your annual revenue could be a little bit higher unless you take a vacation, in which case maybe it all averages out. But this is just to give you a little bit of a conservative estimate of what you might be making. All right, so let's make it a little bit more complicated. Let's say that you have 5 clients at $100 and that you also have 6 clients at $140 a week. This is how many you're seeing a week. And that you do your intakes for $230, and you do one of those a week. So at the bottom of this weekly column is how much you would have made that week. So a total of $1,570. And then if you did this every week for 4 weeks, you would have this total. So per month, you'd be making $6,280. And then if you did that for the whole year, you have what's at the bottom of this column, $75,000, $75,360. So let's do one that, just to play, let's zero these back out for a second. And, okay, so I think we're all back to 0. We are. So let's say you saw, let's just play here. Let's say you saw 12 clients at 120 per week, and you saw one intake per week at 200. Okay, so that would be $1,640 a week, $6,560 a month, and $78,720 per year. Pretty fun, huh? I like playing with this because it helps me to see where I need to hold the line with my rates. So what I would suggest to you is that you go here to File and you make a copy. And then you can save this to your own Google Drive. I do suggest you get a Google Drive. You guys, they're a fantastic place to store information. You just need a Gmail email, which you can create. It's free. So then you can make your own copy and you can have it forevermore to play with in whatever way you want. You're also welcome to play with it in sorry about that, I made the copy. You're welcome to play with it in here if you'd like to. You can't mess anything up. So this is the only column that you can make any changes to. I've locked down all the rest of the columns. So if you tried to put something in here, it would say you're not allowed. And if you tried to change any of the formulas, it would say, you're not allowed. So you don't need to worry about messing anything up. And if one of you comes in here and these numbers are set by somebody else, you can just zero them back out and start over. But I do recommend that you make a copy of it and keep it for yourself. All right, you guys. I'm laughing because I'm realizing that you can see my folders. My Kick-Ass Life is all of my practice stuff, and it was to remind me, my therapy practice stuff, it was to help me remember to be grateful for being able to do an online therapy practice. So I hope that you guys are having a great day. We're going to go back to the training right now. Okay, bye. Cool little worksheet, huh? Okay, so you're able to write down now how many clients you need to see and at what rate to make what you need, what you want, and what you dream of. All right, so if what you found was that you really need to be making money very quickly, you don't have the time or the money for this to be a slow build, then there are some strategies we want to put in place, both about how you frame your business and how you market it. So if we need to make cash fast, a couple things to keep in mind. With online therapy, it's pretty easy to keep your costs very, very low. So for example, you'll want to use a free software program for video and anything else you can find that's free, like Doxyme. There are also other free offers that I'm going to tell you about in the next training for video. You can choose not to have an electronic health record software. Instead, you keep your notes on paper or on your computer so long as you password protect them. In Florida, for example, they have to be behind 2 locked doors. So that means password protecting both your computer and your document itself. I also recommend encrypting, which is free. You want to get clients really fast. So getting on directories like OpenPath, which is a free directory listing for providers who are looking for sliding scale clients, will get you referrals quickly. You want to keep your rates low early on because you're going to get more clients faster with lower rates. So you can even run specials. So for example, you might have on your professional Facebook page that for the month of whatever, let's say whatever next month is, you're going to take the first 5 clients that sign up in that month for a reduced spot, a reduced fee spot. So that will be, let's say, $50 a session for the first 5 sessions, and then incrementally that fee will increase once a month until you reach your full fee. Something like that. You can offer some special deals to get people in quickly. You could even offer to do a free intake for the first person to sign up in a month, and then go from there with seeing if they stay on. You just want to do some things to generate some very, very quick interest, and sometimes doing specials helps you to do that. I just want you to be careful not to run specials that are going to pitch you in a corner. So you don't want to offer a lifetime discounted spot or offer a discounted spot where you don't outline how that discount will end, and then you feel like you have to keep them on at that rate forever. You might also benefit from signing up with some client-facing therapy sites like BetterHelp or Breakthrough or Talkspace. When I say that they're client facing, what I mean is that the primary way they get providers to sign on is by having a bank of clients already, a little stable of clients at the ready. So they're able to get providers like you to sign on at pretty low rates because they're promising you, we've got clients for you. So the benefit is clients quickly. The cost is that you're not going to get paid as much as you're worth. I would be careful when you sign up with them to carefully review all of the contracts and to make sure that they're running their practice in a way that's in line with your ethics, your professional ethics, and your state law. Sometimes I have heard horror stories where one of these companies might not be doing that. I don't even remember which one it was, so I'm not calling anybody out. I just want you to be very careful that you're signing up for something that's not going to get you in trouble or put you in yucky positions with clients. But they are great ways to get people on board quickly. Another site that just came on board and is open to California providers is Udify. It will be nationwide, but isn't at the time of this recording, which is June. Are we in June? Yes, June 6, 2018. They're an interesting model. They're going to be client and therapist facing. So unlike the three that I just mentioned where you're not allowed to set your rates, Udify will allow you to set your own rate. They do take a cut of your income and a fee, but you get to set your own rate, which is really interesting. It's the only model out there that I've seen that is meant to both gather clients so that they have a stable for you and let you set your fee. There are therapist-facing sites like iTherapy and Counsel who, they try to get clients. They do some SEO stuff, but it's not like Talkspace or BetterHelp where they have a ton of people just waiting, and as soon as you sign up, they're going to have clients for you. The benefit of therapist-facing sites like Counsel and iTherapy are that they let you set your own fee and they do not take a cut of your profit. They have a flat fee per month, which I really love transparency in business models, and I find that those therapist-facing sites tend to be better at that. Another way you can get clients, get a lot of clients fairly quickly, medium quickly, is by getting on insurance panels. And we know that many of the insurance panels are paying the same rate for in-person versus online therapy, and some of them are paying a slightly discounted rate and some of them won't pay at all. So it does require some legwork. I would recommend going into the online therapist group and asking for people to let you know if tell them what state you're in and ask them to let you know if they are getting reimbursed by insurance companies and which ones. That way you can quickly target those insurance companies to try to get paneled with. Paneling can take some time. I just had somebody go through the process recently, and I think it was 8+ weeks. So while it's not going to get you immediate clients, you're going to get more clients coming in through insurance than just about any other means that you can market your practice. Really decreases the amount of marketing that you have to do. The cons of getting on with insurance panels is that they're not going to reimburse you at the same rate that you might set out if you were just doing private pay. The other con is that they can be difficult to get out of. So my understanding recently, and you should check this out with each insurance company. I was talking with somebody who was trying to get off of panels, and they were telling her that if a client came to her and said that they had this insurance that she was paneled with, she had to take them if she had any open spots. She wasn't allowed to say, oh, well, 80% of my practice is for insurance clients and 20% is for private pay, which that was really frightening to me. So make sure that you read the fine print carefully before you sign up, and that you understand how you'll get out if you think that one day you will want to just be private pay. My recommendation is that you make sure that you save spots for your full fee clients that are private pay. So it can be really easy to panic that you're not going to get paid enough and just run full force at these options that will pay less but be fruitful earlier. And then you end up with no spots when you have clients who can actually pay your rate. I had that happen. I slid my scale all over the place, and then I was having people call me who wanted to get in, and I had no spots left. And it was very painful to have to turn away a $200 client because I had let in $50 clients and now didn't have room. So just learn from my mistake. Make sure you reserve some full fee slots. And then the last piece is network, network, network. You're going to want to get in front of people who could refer to you, and you're going to want to talk to them in a way of you offering support and services to them, not the other way around. That's how you network. So we'll talk more about networking in a future bonus, but I want you to know you have to get in front of people. I know your practice is online. Turns out humans are still important, and you need person-to-person contact with them. So either in person in the physical world or via video. Having a little coffee date via video is a great way to get to know someone. If you do not have clients yet, there is no reason that you can't have 5 to 6 video dates a day until your practice is full. So no excuses. If you've got the time, then you need to fill that time with meeting people. If it's not clients, it should be people who can refer to you. We will work together to generate a list of people to get in contact to network with. Okay, let's say that you have a little time and money. How would you market and set up your practice differently? So we still need to stay aware of costs. I think it's really sad when people dump a ton of money into, let's say, a $5,000 website, which is absolutely not needed, just because they're excited and they have the cash to throw at it. You don't need to do that, y'all. So please just stay aware of costs, even if you've got lots of money. I think it's important to go ahead and get 1 or 2 clients quickly, just so that you get the experience of using the software and you get comfortable with your paperwork and how you talk about things. And that's going to really build your confidence and make it easier for you to stick to your full rate moving forward. So if you can get folks in quickly at your full rate, great. But if one of the ways that you need to get 1 or 2 people started is by reducing your rate, it's not going to kill you. And I think it's a wise way to move forward so that you can just hurry up and get your feet in the water. Once you get that 1 to 2 clients in, though, at your reduced fee spot, which, by the way, you're always going to put an expiration date in your informed consent for reduced fee slots so that the client is aware they don't get it for their life, then you need to set and stay with your fee structure for everybody else that calls. And we will talk in detail about this in the group as you start getting calls from clients in the online therapist group, because I want to help you figure out when it's okay to slide that fee and when you need to be sticking based on your finances, your reality, not on your heartstrings. Now, you need to be putting time into your long-term strategies. So you're not full yet. What time you would be seeing clients needs really to be strongly devoted to building up long-term client generating strategies. So if I were you and I had the time and money, I would not waste my time looking at 80 different pieces of software. I would go with an all-in-one platform, because the time you would have put into that research could be better spent doing things that will generate leads. So I would choose an all-in-one platform if I had the time and money, like iTherapy or Counsel or Udify. Now, you guys, I don't know Udify well. They just came out, but they're on my mind because I talked to them recently. I would be networking my booty off person to person. So really, I'd be sending out 10 emails a day, trying to line up meetings with folks online or in person so that I can get to know them and their practice, so that when I'm full, I know who I'm referring to, but also so that they can get to know me and they can refer to me. And we can talk more about what that could look like. If I had the time and the money, I would be making a ton of self-help videos or podcasts. Podcasts are so easy to make, you guys. Video is where it's at if you want to get really, really quick return on investment. But if that's too intimidating and you know you just won't do it, then we'll talk podcasting software. It's just audio recording, you guys, not complicated at all. But I would put that material on a USB and I would give that to my referral sources so that they could give that to clients. And I might say, like, this one's for anxiety, this one's for depression, this one is for meditation and sleep hygiene, so that I'm already being helpful. The key to networking is to be helpful to your referral sources and to potential clients. I would be dumping all the time that I wasn't seeing my online therapy clients into doing this kind of marketing. I would be developing a helpful and diverse online footprint. So YouTube has huge SEO. That's the thing that gets you found online, you guys. It's not going to help you a ton just to introduce yourself. It will help you a ton if you're being yourself and being helpful in videos or audio tracks. Blog posts too, but those are going to get less traction than people being able to see your face. And diversify. The more places you are found online, the more the internet algorithm gets you found. So I know that we talk about in terms of marketing strategy, pick one social media site and really get great at that one and put your energy and your time into that one. And I do agree with that philosophy. But in the beginning, if you have extra time, just get your stuff as wide as you can, just so that you're going to show up on algorithms more quickly. You don't actually have to keep up with all of these things, but it can help you to get seen in lots of places. Really high SEO places like YouTube are great. Vimeo is another video software program that a video hosting program that you can get on. There's another one out. Oh, I'm blanking on the name right now. Darn. I will think of it and share it in the group because it's a platform that's really built for educational videos and it's used by professionals. So it's a really great way to connect with folks who are looking for help and who are probably in higher income brackets or moving in that direction. If I had a lot of money, I would get some support and help with SEO. If I had a lot of time, I would learn a little bit about SEO because that really can boost your website getting found by clients. If I had time and money, I would hire out my website. You don't need to pay $2,000 for your website, you guys. It's unnecessary. But you can get somebody to build one pretty quickly for you using a template. So like Squarespace has templates. You can pay somebody to build out a website for you. It's cool if they will give you some training so that you know how to add things in to your blog or whatever else you have on there over time and you don't have to pay someone to do that. I spent a stupid amount of time trying to build my own website, just stupid. And it would have made much more sense for me to be using that time to market than to pick out colors and fonts. That was a dumb use of my time early on. If you had the money, invest in being listed on multiple directories. So Psychology Today is going to give you the most bang for your buck in most places. Good Therapy beats them out in a few places, but you want to get listed somewhere if you can afford to do that. Social media. Spend some time on your face. If you've got to pick one social media, pick Facebook. If you can afford it, I would get a subscription to something like RecurPost, which will take anything that you want to show up on your social media. It will take it, you dump it all in there, and then it will send it out to your social media without you even having to think about it. It sends it out on a schedule. It will send it out repeatedly since only 3 to 7% of your audience is seeing any of your posts. So it recycles the material. Meet Edgar is another program that does that, but it's quite expensive, about $50 a month. RecurPost is less than half of that, I believe. You need to spend some time on social media, but not too much time. You need to have a footprint there because people will definitely look you up to verify that you're a legit human. And it can turn cold audiences into warm audiences. Warm audiences are more likely to buy your product, your therapy. When I think about using social media, I rarely am thinking about using Facebook to turn somebody who visited my Facebook page into a therapy client. I might be thinking about turning them into a fan of my page who sees my posts repeatedly, and maybe after they've seen many posts, they consider working with me. But I don't ever put out ads like, hey, come be my therapy client, because that's just very unlikely to work out. The only reason social media is helpful is to help you get found, to verify you, and to warm up your audience so they're more likely to trust and know you, and then to consider therapy with you. The same with an email list. So you could use your social media or any other means to generate an email list that you send out a newsletter to each month, or every other week or something like that. And the reason that you do that is to warm the audience up so that they can see you, get to know you, build trust with you, find you to be helpful, and then want to buy more help from you in terms of buying therapy from you. So I hope that's helpful when you think about your budget and where you spend your time and money. Typically, we usually have one or the other. We have lots of time but no money, which works just great. You can spend your time doing all of these things. If you don't have much time but you do have money, then you can pay somebody else to do some of these things for you. If you don't have time or money, let's just be realistic that your practice is going to be a little slower to build. So it's going to be important for you to make sure that you have a solid way of getting income while your practice is building. Okay. Let's switch gears for a little bit and talk about stemming the flood of your bleeding heart so it doesn't bleed you dry. And let me see here. There we go. So you can at least see me for a little bit. The 3 things that I think get in the way for most people in terms of not being able to insist on their fee include compassion, fear, and sense of worth. So let's start with compassion. If they are talking to somebody that they know they can help, especially somebody that fits in their niche really well, or that they have a specialty in treating, or that maybe is difficult to treat, but they know they could help, it can be very difficult to tell that person, I'm sorry, I'm full, or I'm sorry, I can't slide my fee. What I have started to do with this is once I kind of built out my rationale for my fee structure in my Notebook of Awesome, I could then stick to it a little bit better. And so I could tell clients, I'm so sorry, but both of my discounted spots are full. Would you like me to put you on a list to contact you later when those folks graduate from therapy? But I don't know when that will be. And I will also provide you 3 or 5 referrals in case you'd like to see somebody sooner, which I do recommend. So having something that I know I can say to kind of move them to the next spot is really, really useful. I also know that sometimes people say that they can't afford your fee, but when it becomes very important to them, they can. Now, this is not all the time. Some people really can't afford it. But so many times I've had people tell me, no, I can't afford that fee. And I say, oh, okay, I'm so sorry. I don't have any more discounted spots. Let me get you some referrals to somebody else who might. And then they say, well, but maybe I really like working with you. Maybe I could give up, I don't know, my cable for the next 6 months, whatever it happens to be. Or actually, I probably just should shop a little bit less, or maybe I'm not going to buy those fancy shoes so that I can afford to come to therapy with somebody that I feel like I could really get something from. So I only learned that lesson by holding my fee. And then it turns out that lots of times people can afford more than they might initially feel like spending if you don't bend your fee, but you won't know that unless you stick to your fee. Remember too that you are not the only therapist in town, so you might be feeling really compassionate, but you shouldn't rob somebody else of the chance to work with this client because you think you're the only person who can help them. We know that that's just not true. And when you're feeling that way, what it really means is that you have not done enough networking. You should never feel like you're the only person that can help them. If you're feeling that, then you need to not take that client and use that hour instead to network and get to know other providers and let them know, hey, I'm having these clients come in. They can't pay my full fee. I'm really looking for somebody amazing to refer them to. I just don't know anybody who can do this kind of work. Can we talk? Can you tell me about your practice? Can you tell me who you think would be a good referral for me to send folks like this to? Okay? So if you're feeling you're the only one, it just means you haven't networked enough. The other piece about compassion is I want you to have compassion for yourself too. I remember early on, I had another clinician call me wanting to refer a client to me, and she's like, Amber, you're the only one that can help this client. I know that you wouldn't be freaked out by her. You'd be able to help her. And of course, my ego is like, oh, great, awesome. And I talked to the client, and the risk was so high on so many different levels, and I was really, really tempted to take this client anyway. And then I started thinking about what it would actually look like in practice. And I know that I would be checking my email. I know that I would be worried that something bad had happened. I know that I would be worried I made the wrong decision and that I was going to have not only a dangerous situation for a client, but maybe something dangerous for me, liability-wise. And then I thought, okay, Amber, you need to have compassion for yourself and think about not wanting to stay up late at night. Remember why you made this leap, so you could have more of a life, not so that you could have less of one, not so that you could worry late at night or in the middle of the day. And then I thought about my family and I thought, how fair is that to my family for me to take on clients willingly? It's not even my job, willingly, who are going to increase my distress and my ability to really be with my family instead of kind of be in my head worried about this client. So remember to be compassionate for yourself and your family and what you're trying to do with this. Fear is the next. So the worry that I won't get any more clients or nobody's going to pay my full fee, that's just bogus. That's scarcity, right? So we can talk strategy when it comes to fees. The reason I wanted you to do all of that work to get data is because when you make the decision about discounting a spot or maybe getting on an insurance panel, I want it to be because you have done the math and you know that this is what you need to do, not because you're in a scarcity mindset and you're afraid. I don't believe we can just make things happen by thinking hard about it and being wishful. I do think that that's important, but I think it's also important to be working with some data. So if you're feeling fearful, my advice to you is go do the math so that you know whether the fear is warranted and a cue for you to pay attention to and to strategize around, or if the fear is just some of your old stuff that you might need to be working through. The last one is worth. This is a hard one. I know we all worry, are we really worth this fee? I have that thought all the time, like, gosh, if I have a session and it's not outstanding, I'm like, ugh, I should totally just reimburse them for this session. That wasn't even great. We're going to have those thoughts. I want you to get that box out where you keep all of the cards from your clients, where you have all of those emails that people have sent you telling you about how much you've mattered to them and how much you've changed their life. And read them and remind yourself that you are worth having a decent life. Let's remember how much money and time you put into graduate school, how much time away from your family, how much time away from other fun stuff that you might have been doing. I think a lot about how much debt I went into in order to get this degree to help people. And when I set my fee and I say to myself, I don't know if I'm worth $75. And then I think, that was like $215,000 worth of education. You don't think that you should charge more than $75? Think this through. Think this through. And if you find that your clients are falling out of therapy a lot, you're having a lot of turnover, then grab some supervision and see if maybe your skills aren't up to par and you need a little help, right? Probably not the case, but I think it's important to check the data. See. I love the idea of doing satisfaction surveys with clients. It's a great way to get some information about, is your therapy really being helpful? Are you seeing results? And then it's just another data point for you to reassure yourself with. And it's just good practice. Okay, let's go to the next slide. All right, so we want you to be able to set your fees with purpose, clarity, and conviction so that you know when you should slide and when you shouldn't. Remember that there is a formula in your email for you to be able to plug in how many clients at what rate and see what the income generated would be. Please do remember that the monthly income is based on a 4-week month and the yearly income is based on 12 of those months. So it'll be a little bit less than what you would probably earn unless you consider that you probably will take a vacation at some point. And so it all balances out, but I just wanted you to know that, okay? So I'd like you to think about and then write out in your Notebook of Awesome how many clients you need and at what rate, how many clients you want and at what rate, and how many clients you dream of and at what rate. And I'll share with you that the number of clients that I want and at what rate are 12 clients, maybe 15, but really 12, at $200. So that's mine. Okay, remember this slide, defining how much you need to make and how quickly based on fact, not fear. So I want you to do this homework. I want you to write out in terms of your needs. Within 3 months, I need to make X per week. Within 6 months, I need to make X per week, and so on. We want you to define the boundaries of your reduced fee spots with self and other compassion. So let's talk a little bit about what that will look like. And remember, you guys, you can watch this again on replay. So if you're thinking, oh my gosh, I haven't done it yet, and you just want to get an overview, that's okay. Stick with me, we'll get through it all, and then you can rewatch and do some of the math. Okay, let's talk about the reduced fee spots, because I think that sometimes we play out our own psychological issues on those poor reduced fee spots. So I'd really like you to take a step back, and I want you to think through what your values are regarding charity. Do you think it's important? And if so, how much feels important? What's like kind of your baseline of what feels important? Then I want you to think through the many ways you're able to provide charitable support in your life. What are they? Do you give money at church? Do you give money to charities? Does the charitable practice need to be in therapy? For some of us, we'll say, well, that's the thing that I'm greatest at. It's a hard commodity for people to get. So yeah, that's where I want to give it away. Others of you might think, you know what, that's a great point. Why would I give it away there? That confuses the picture, muddies the water for me. So I'm going to choose to give money to charity in other ways, but not in this way. The other thing I'd like for you to consider is that the more money you make, the more charity you can provide. When I think about how much money I gave to charity before I started making the income I'm making now, it was almost nothing. When I think about the amount of money that I've provided in charity, either through seeing clients pro bono or at extremely reduced fees, or just giving money via GoFundMe or other ways, it's so much higher. It's exponentially higher. And of course it would be, because if I'm giving away, let's say, 10% of my income to charity, if I'm making a lot more money, that 10% ends up being a lot more money. So I just want you, when you get into that place of feeling guilty for your fee, to remember that nobody's saying you have to keep it all. If you still feel guilty at the end of the year, you can give away however much you want. That doesn't need to affect how much you bring in. It just can change how much you give out. Okay. So let's summarize here. Remember that our goals were to help you to experience clarity about what income you need, want, and dream of. Define how much you need to make and how quickly, based on fact and not fear. Stem the flood of your bleeding heart so it doesn't bleed you dry. Set fees with purpose, clarity, and conviction. And begin to outline a marketing strategy based on your financial realities, not on fear and not on dreams. And to define the boundaries of your reduced fee spots if you decide to have them, with not just other compassion, but self-compassion too. So please do the homework this week. Take the time to define what income you need, what do you dream of, and what do you want? How much do you need and how quickly? What are your fees? That is the outcome of this week, you guys. Set your fee. How many reduced fee spots will you offer, if any, and at what rate? And begin to outline your marketing strategy. So do you need to go with the cheapest things you can find, but you have some time to kind of find them? Do you not have time, but you do have money, so you're just going to go for an all-in-one so that you can use that time in a different way to get clients? Think about how this is going to impact your next steps. Okay, I look forward to talking to you guys in the next lesson and to hearing your feedback in the group.